A very good evening, class. Welcome to the session. So, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss important updates from the month of March. Just give me 1 second. Meanwhile, you can confirm if my voice is audible to you and the video is clear. So we are going to cover important updates from 16th to 23rd of March. All the news, current affair topics relevant for your examination for the third week of March. Acha, those who have not followed the previous lectures, they are requested to first go through that also. We have conducted 2 sessions yesterday which covered current affairs for the first week and the second week of March. Today we are dealing with the third week content, and next tomorrow we will be completing the fourth week March current affairs altogether, after which we will be probably having a dedicated session to solve the MCQs and questions related to all the 4-week March questions which are most important. So be ready for that also, for which you have to follow the lectures very closely. Chaliye. So the first question, first news which seems to be important here is regarding government notification of electricity amendment rules 2026. So government has recently came up with a amendment act which has amended the rule 3 of electricity rule of 2005. Okay, na? This is pertaining to the use of captive power plants. This entire amendment is focusing upon the regulation of the captive power plant. So firstly, you need to be aware what is a captive power plant. For example, in India we have big industries and big companies like, for example, Tata Motors, Tata Steel, etc. And for their operations, there can be smaller companies also which are not so big, the small companies. All of these companies, whether it's small or big companies, for their operation, manufacturing or any other thing, they need power. Okay? Now there are 2 options. Firstly, they can take power from the government owned infrastructure, the national grids which are present, just like we do utilize it. Alright, but it is going to put a lot of strain on the grid, public grid network. For example, these big factories, big industries, they are not using small power like running a couple of ACs, television and things like what we are doing right now. All right, they need huge amount of power, so it is going to put a lot of load on this particular system. Also, if they are using this general infrastructure, the national infrastructure, they are going to pay more tariffs as part of the taxes. Okay, in order to solve this problem, there is another way. They can take this power from their owned or run power plants. So they can themselves run these power plants in order to generate power and utilize that power, which is going to help in 2 ways. It is going to help us and the government, as it is going to reduce burden on the power grids, the public infrastructure, okay, from where the public is drawing power for daily use. Secondly, it is going to help the company because it is lowering the tariff or lowering the taxes. But there was a hurdle in this particular thing. Earlier, for example, let's suppose there is a parent company, Tata Sons. Now Tata Sons might have different subsidiaries under it. For example, Tata Consumer Product, Tata Motors, which is also now divided into 2 groups. Tata Commercial Vehicle has been separated from Tata Passenger Vehicle. Apart from that, we can also differentiate other arms of Tata like Tata Steel, Tisco, etc. For Adani also the same thing. Adani Ports hai wahan par, theek hai na? Adani Enterprises is the parent company. It has a lot of subsidiaries. All right, Reliance, which has mostly consolidated its business, they are now also trying to diversify it. For example, recently Jio Services or Jio Financial Services Private Limited was listed in the Indian stock market on BSE and NSE. So there was a problem in the earlier rules that the subsidiaries and the parent company or the holding companies, they were not taken to be part of together. For example, let's suppose if Tata Motors has built this particular power plant. It has invested in this particular power plant, है ना? So Tata Steel and Tata Sun, Tata Steel, which is another subsidiary, and Tata Sons, which is the parent company or the holding company, they won't be considered as the owners together, although they are part of the same entity, Tata Group, but they won't be considered, they won't be getting this tax benefit. This tax benefit will be only with the Tata Motors, which has basically invested here. So this confusion has been cleared now. Now all the parent company, the holding company, the subsidiaries are going to be counted as one, and they can be exempted by this tax regime. So in order for you to understand this thing very clearly, I have made this particular table of what the earlier rules were and what the recent amendment has basically changed. Firstly, in the earlier time period, the specific company that invested the money, as I have discussed, let's suppose Tata Motors, they were basically getting the exemption or the benefit, but the subsidiaries were often treated as a separate stranger company. They won't be getting that tax benefit. Company A is not related with company B. Now what has changed? A group of company, including subsidiaries and the parent or the holding company, they will be treated as a single user. Therefore this benefit is going to be extended to others as well. Acha, there is also a rule which is a very important rule. This is called as 2651% rule under this Electricity Amendment Act. Earlier you will see that users were often forced to consume electricity strictly proportional to their ownership. For example, let's suppose I am not Reliance, I am not Adani, I am not Tata. Okay? I am a small businessman. I have just started. I cannot invest so big amount in order to erect a particular power plant, a captive power plant. So what I am going to do, I am going to find like-minded people, other businessmen, other enterprises, other people who also need this particular captive plant, and together we are going to invest in erecting this particular captive power plant. So I'm also going to use it. Other people, other industrialists, they are also going to utilize it. Now who can use how much? That was a confusing thing earlier. Earlier it was the condition that you are going to utilize the same proportion of energy out of the power plant as much investment as you have done. For example, if I own 30%, if I have invested 30%, if the power plant was of 1000 rupees, I have given 300 rupees, so I have 30% of that stake. I have the 30% stakes with me. ठीक है ना? लेकिन अब क्या change हो गया है कि if you have 26% or more, you can utilize as much energy as one. There is no restriction. There is no restriction. That per company which is holding at least 26% or more is now exempted from this particular limit, and they will be considered as the owner. They will be considered as the owner. ठीक है? अच्छा, एक और चीज यहाँ पर है जो कि है कि जिसका अगर 26% आपके पास, if you are having the ownership, then you can utilize as much as like minimum 50%, 51% uses also has to be there. Another benefit that is introduced through this amendment rule is companies often had to pay heavy surcharges while their status was being verified. ठीक है ना? How much have you utilized the power? How much do you own the captive power plant or not? Are you legally the holding entity or not? है ना? So in order to verify these things, the government bodies or the agencies will do a verification background test. Now while they are doing this verification test, they will already ask you to pay the money. That if we find that okay, you were rightfully using it, you are the owner and you do have this exemption, then we will refund your money. But firstly we will charge it. Till the time things are not cleared, till the time things are not verified, we are going to charge it. So this was a big problem, because in a business, the capital money, the flow is very much important. The capital flow is very much important. You need to have liquidity. Now if you are paying this much amount as taxes, as surcharges, then it is going to go out of your capital. So it has tried to streamline a lot of things and hurdles as far as the captive power plant in the country was concerned. Now, yes, most of these points we have already discussed. The nodal agency for this is at the interstate level NLDC, जिसका full form भी नीचे यहाँ पर लिखा होगा, which stands for National Load Dispatch Center. It is the apex body for power system operation. You need to integrate the static portion with the dynamic portion as well. So what is NLDC? You need to be aware. It is the apex body for power system operation. चलिए और कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट यहाँ पर CSS we have already discussed. It is a cross subsidy surcharge which is paid by the company to the government, which was paid earlier at least by the company to the government. Moving to the next thing or next news headline which was important in the third week. This was regarding a Tamil literary icon whose name was R. Veramuthu, who has been honored with prestigious 2025 Gyanpeeth Award. I hope you are aware with what Gyanpeeth Award is. Gyanpeeth Award is basically a literary award. Okay? It is a literary award. So it is given in the field of English, Hindi, or any other 21 languages which are part of the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. So if you are producing any literature, any poetry work in that particular language, any language of the 8th schedule and English, then you will be given this literary award. Okay? Earlier on, at least till 1980s, this award was given specifically for your work. For example, if you have written a poem which has been widely acclaimed, appreciated, so you are going to get for this particular work. Now things have, after 80s, these things have been changed. Now you are getting it as a part of lifetime contribution award. Your contribution is being recognized and it is going to be given one. Earlier, what was the case? For example, if in your lifetime, if you produce 3 to 4 marvelous work, then every time you will be given this Gyanpeeth Award. So this cycle was being merged after 1982. It became a lifetime contribution award. The first recipient of this award was G. Shankar Kurup, who was a Malayalam poet, a lyricist, and also a writer. Okay? He was given this award in 1965 when Shastri Sahab was the Prime Minister. Okay? First woman recipient is Asha Pura Devi, who won it for Bengali language in the year 1976, immediately after the emergency. I am telling you these static information like who was the Prime Minister so that you can better relate with it. Okay, na? Chaliye. Now, what are the components? You get a cash prize of 11 lakh rupees, and also apart from that you get a bronze statue of Vagdevi. Vagdevi literally means Saraswati, goddess Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom and knowledge. Okay? So this year it was the 60th Gyanpeeth Award 2025 list. This was basically the 60th Gyanpeeth Award. Any question from this particular part? Keep asking if you have any doubts. Next is Union Minister Shri Amit Shah has recently launched Advanced Healthcare and Proton Cancer Therapy in Guwahati. I'll give you a gist firstly. See, mostly in cancer treatment, the radiation therapy that is given is largely X-ray based. But in recent years, globally, the proton radiation therapy has started. So instead of X-ray, now protons, which are the positively charged ions, they are now being utilized for the treatment. What is the benefit of using proton over X-ray? The benefit is this: they are like targeting the specific area. They are very highly localized and highly precise rather than X-ray, which often damages the nearby areas as well. So even after the treatment, even after this, like for example, cancerous cells have been destroyed and you have been cured, there can be other associated morbidities due to this X-ray treatment. So now as we are advancing in science and technology, we have come up with this particular thing. So now this is going to be the first proton cancer therapy which has been integrated in a government hospital. Till now we had 2 operational proton cancer therapy in India. Firstly, it was in Apollo Chennai, which is a private company, which is like a private entity, and other was in Tata Memorial in Mumbai, which is also a private entity. So this is going to be the first time that a government institute, and specifically in the northeastern region, government is trying to promote infrastructure, healthcare facilities, in order to integrate the northeastern India with the general mainland as well. So this is part of that greater ambitious project. Okay. Now the budget is also mentioned. This foundation stone project was worth around 2092 crore rupees. Moving to the next question. NHAI has recently announced revision of FASTag annual fee for financial year 26-27. There is nothing much here. Static information you need to understand, but as far as the dynamic information is concerned, there is only a marginal increase in the price of the annual pass, which is basically generated for paying the toll taxes. You are already aware of FASTag. What is a FASTag? Now, instead of paying that amount, people often use this annual pass. annual pass. Okay, a one-time annual pass. So the fee for that has been increased from 3,000 rupees to 3,075. There has been an increase of around 75 rupees. Some like almost 2.5% increase has been there. Now this, what is the eligibility of this FASTag annual pass? Private vehicles and all the non-commercial vehicles like car, jeeps, vans, they are eligible for this annual pass. Okay. What is the validity? As it is the annual pass, the validity is going to be either 1 year or 200 trips. So for example, if there is someone who is almost traveling daily from one place to the other place, one state to other state, है ना? For example, if somebody is traveling from, let's say, Greater Noida or Gurugram to the nearby regions of NCR, which is quite possible because there's hardly a distance of 30 to 60, 70 kilometers between all these areas in NCR. So you're supposed to pay this toll, all right? So if you are traveling all 365 days of a year, then it is not applicable for as an annual pass. It will be only available for the first 200 trips, whichever is falling earlier, whether it is 1 year time period or 200 trips, whatever is earlier. Now, static GK portion related to this. This is part of the broader national highway fee rules under the 2008 framework. FASTag was launched. This FASTag annual pass was launched last year, August 2025. We are not talking about FASTag. We are talking about the annual pass here. Okay, so annual pass was launched in the year 2025. The platform which we have discussed here, it was activated by the Rajmarg Yatra app or the NHAI website. With both of these, you can do the same thing. Okay, you can get the FASTag annual pass from here. The launch of FASTag, it became a mandatory thing for the integration of digital highways, road, toll tax payment system, and it uses a specific type of technology which is called as RFID technology. Radio frequency identity technology is basically used, okay, where electromagnetic waves and radio frequencies are basically used for this. Now this has been functional since February 2021. Moving to the next topic, this is regarding Goa Cabinet's approval of Goa's Advocate Protection Bill 2026 to safeguard the lawyers. Now this is happening for the very first time that we are seeing a protective law has been enacted in Goa for protecting the lawyers. A lot of number of times people do fear from police and lawyers, but for lawyers a special protection act has been implemented. Although Goa is not the first state to do so. Before Goa, Rajasthan has become the first state, I think in 2023 or somewhere, we will discuss that. Followed by Karnataka, which was the second state which has launched this particular legislation for protection of the lawyers. What does it mean? Often when you are representing your client or you are representing the state as an advocate, as a lawyer, there is a fear that the other party might try to force you to do not participate or do something like they can make you to back out of the case. They can threaten you. They can also inflict violence on you. They can beat you. So in order to protect the lawyers and their interest so that they can follow their profession in a dignified way, because they have been designated as the officers of the court. They are called as the officers of the court. So that they can practice things properly, this protection law has been given. If they need police protection, they will be provided this police protection. And if anybody is going to breach this particular law by violating or beating a particular advocate, threatening him or doing anything offensive with a lawyer in Goa, they are going to be penalized. Okay, what are the provisions? They can be, if you assault a lawyer in Goa, you will get 2 years prison and a 55,000 rupees fine, up to 2 years plus 55. If you seriously hurt or injured a particular lawyer, you are going to jail for 7 years, up to 7 years, and a fine of 1 lakh rupees. Okay? If there are threats of death or that I'll destroy your property, do something like that, then you are going to jail for up to 7 years. Okay? As mentioned, Rajasthan became the first state to pass a similar protective law for lawyers in the year 2023 because the cases of violence in these states are very great as far as the lawyers are concerned. Karnataka became the second state in 2024 and 26. Goa has become the third state in this regard. Chaliye. Any doubts or confusion till this part? I hope everything is clear. Moving ahead. Yes, moving ahead. Again we have another news regarding award. अभी हमने पढ़ा regarding the Gyanpith Award. Now we are discussing about Padma Shri given to Kurumba artist whose name is Kitna. Kitna is not his exact name. Kitna is a type of title which was given to him. He was referred as Kitna. His real name was R. Krishnan, and he was from Tamil Nadu, from the Nilgiri hills, the same area where your Ooty hill station is basically present. And in that same area there are a lot of tribal communities. Around the Nilgiri hills there are a lot of tribal communities in India. For example, the Toda community, which is also in the Udag Mandalam, which is a place in Tamil Nadu which you call as Ooty. Apart from that, Irregular population is also there, Kurumbas are also there, Kota tribe, there is the place just I think half an hour or 1 hour distance of Ooty, there is a place called as Kotagiri. Okay? Kunur, Ooty, Kotagiri, these are all adjacent areas, nearby areas. So Kotagiri के अंदर में एक community रहती है, this community is called as Kota, they are also tribal people. And apart from that, Badagas. So Badagas, Kotas, Kurumba and Todas, these are the major 4 communities. Irregulars also are in the state which are present at times nearby. Okay? So this particular gentleman, ये कितना जी जो है, he was a Alu Kurumba Adivasi. He belonged to this particular community. And this particular community is categorized as a PVTG. You should be aware with the terminologies also. See, in India we have 3 concepts: tribe versus scheduled tribe versus PVTG. Okay? I hope you do understand the distinction. Tribe is any ethnic community or a cultural group which share primitive traits, which has a certain marked degree of backwardness, and which also has a distinctive culture which demarcates or differentiates it from the other communities in the country. When a tribe is notified by the President of India using Article 242, they become what we call as scheduled tribe. And then reservation and a lot of other benefits are being given to these people, okay, for their welfare. All right. Now, even in scheduled tribe, there are few groups which are highly marginalized. Their population is either stagnant or the population has been declining. Even after a lot of efforts that has been done by the government, the population is not increasing, rather it is declining. So we need to take special measures and initiative for them. So this particular segment of scheduled tribe, the most marginalized, the poorest of the poor, the most marginalized tribal group in India, they are called as PVTG. The full form of PVTG, you can write it somewhere, particularly vulnerable tribal group. This nomenclature became effective in the year 2006. Before 2006, they were called as PTG, that is primitive tribal group. In India, we have more than 715 plus scheduled tribes, and we have around 75 PVTGs. All right. This PTG or PVTG was implemented on the recommendation of a commission called as Dhebar Commission, which presented its report in the year 1960s, end of 60s, and the implementation occurred in 1971. Then in 1973, 52 tribal groups were added to this particular list, followed by 23 entries which were made in the year 1992. All right, so total number became 52 plus 23 is equal to 75. So currently we have this 75 tribal or PVTGs. Chaliye. So there is a question in the comment section: assault is a major crime than hurting, but the penalties are quite opposite. Assault is an attack. I jump on you to attack on you. Okay? But grievously or seriously hurting somebody is like a major injury. The result of that assault has been serious injuries that has been inflicted on the person, probably to a degree when he's supposed to be hospitalized. So we have to increase the penalties for that. Na? Assault is just an attack. I have assaulted on you. I have punched you on the face, or I have like hit you with a piece of a stick or a rod of wood or anything. But if the result of that is serious injuries which has been inflicted, then the penalties has to be severe. You are talking about the last news that we were discussing. I hope this part is clear. The background of PTG is clear to you. ठीक है ना? चलिए. So Kurumba is one PVTG, and this particular person, Kitna, he was given Padma Shri, and he was part of this PVTG group. है ना? And why this was given to him? Why Padma Shri was given to him? Because of his contribution specifically in the Kurumba paintings. He has drawn and executed a lot of wonderful Kurumba paintings, and his style was also very unique. His painting was pretty much like the ancient prehistoric rock art paintings. If you have visited, tell me in the comment section those who have visited any of the following caves. Kurnool caves in Andhra Pradesh, Bhimbetka Panchmadi Adamgarh in the Madhya Pradesh, Lekhania in Mirzapur, and Lakudiyar in Uttarakhand. If you have visited any of these caves or any other cave, specifically those cave where there are cave paintings or cave art, do tell me in the comment section the name and the place. Okay, na? So when you move to these areas, these cave shelters like Bhimbetka, Adamgarh, Panchmadi, you will find a lot of paintings dating back to Upper Paleolithic time period, which is from like 20,000, 25,000 years ago from now. And in these paintings, what people were drawing, they were drawing two things: either their imagination or the reality, what they were seeing. They were using natural dyes and pigment. They were using hematite for the red color. They were using charcoal for the black color. They were using stems, root and nodules as a brush, because they were not having this Apsara and Natraj brush and pencils or sketches. So they were using natural component. So Mr. Kitna's paintings were largely inspired and were similar to what the cave art paintings were basically be. Okay? He was using forest pigment of Vengai tree, which is yellow and brown in color. He was also using leaves for the green color. He was using Karimaran tree for the black color. And information regarding Padma Shri, you should be aware. Padma Shri is the 4th highest civilian award in the country. The first award is the highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna. Followed by Bharat Ratna, it is Padma Vibhushan. Followed by Padma Vibhushan, it is, what is the next is a Padma Bhushan. And after Padma Bhushan, we have Padma Shri. Initially, these awards were given to 6 gentlemen altogether in the year 1952. Probably the year was also mentioned somewhere. Okay, 1952-54, these awards were given for the very first time. All right, and there were total 6 people who were given this award together. 4 major names included Nandalal Bose, who was an artist, painter. Apart from Nandalal Bose, there was Satyendranath Bose. Then there was Zakir Hussain Saab, and then there was V.K. Menon. He was also a defense minister for India, and he has largely contributed. Recently, a Congress minister, Jairam Ramesh, has after COVID, he has written a voluminous book titled Checkered Brilliance. If you do get time and if you are interested in reading books, you can read that. Chaliye. Next news is regarding ISRO successfully conducting sea-level test of CE-20 cryogenic engine. Firstly, let us try to understand what is a cryogenic engine, which is the keyword here. So cryogenic engine is here, basically it is using propellants like liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. I have mentioned it here also. Basically, cryogenic engine is a rocket engine which is using fuels at a very low temperature and primarily using liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen as a propellant which drives it. These are the fuels which are basically being used. So this is the meaning of cryogenic engine. Now a specific cryogenic engine name is CE-20. This is something which is in discussion in news. All right. So that has been the test for that has been conducted by ISRO. Same has been conducted by ISRO. What is the context why this test is important? Because we are in the year 2027, that is next year, we are launching our mission यहाँ पर मेंशन होगा जो गगनयान मिशन है, इसको हम वहाँ पर स्टार्ट करने जा रहे हैं, where 3 crew member team will be sent to space. It is going to be first human associated space flight mission with humans, with human crew from India. So for that this testing was being done. Apart from that, in the Shokar Valley, this was also in news recently, in the Shokar Valley in Ladakh, an experiment was being conducted in the same regard for testing for Gaganyaan mission, and which was called as Mitra, to test the endurance of the crew member in that type of environment. Why Shokar Valley specifically? Because in space you have low oxygen concentration, and when you go to a very high altitude regions like Shokar Valley and Ladakh, they also have lower oxygen concentration. So a lot of development is going around this Gaganyaan, which is planned for the next year, and this particular test of CE-20 cryogenic engine is also in the same regard. What is the location? The location was Mahendragiri in Tamil Nadu. This test was conducted on March 10th, 2026 in the Mahendragiri, which is in Tamil Nadu. ठीक है. The upgraded thrust is being tested to be around 22 tons thrust level, which is upgrade from the previous record, which was 19 ton. ठीक है ना. What is thrust? Thrust is basically nothing but the force that is pushing the rocket upwards. Pushing the rocket upward. Now, the vehicle which has been discussed, the rocket specifically, which is mentioned here in the report, is LVM3. The full form is Launch Vehicle Mark III. Earlier, we used to designate this with GSLV. Till 2022, we used to call it GSLV. But now, since we are using it for multiple purposes, okay, not only geosynchronous operations or missions, we are using it for low Earth orbit mission and a lot of other varying missions. So in order to incorporate that variability, we have changed the name, because using name GSLV has restricted its use only for geosynchronous missions. All right. Now we are using for a greater purpose, a more variable purposes. So we have changed the name to what we call as Launch Vehicle Mark III instead of GSLV, which was used 3 years ago from now till 2022-23. 2-3 years ago, we are using this particular name. I hope this is entirely clear. The duration of this test was 165 seconds. That can also be asked in the examination. Next information is regarding Dholera making history, as Gujarat first sounding rocket successfully has launched from Gujarat. It is not India's first, it is Gujarat first. Gujarat for the very first time has tested a sounding rocket successfully. So keyword here is sounding rocket. What is a sounding rocket? It is a suborbital. It does not go to the Earth's orbit. It does not crosses the Earth's orbit. All right. So it is a suborbital within the orbit. This particular vehicle will fly, and this is designed specifically to carry scientific instruments into the upper atmosphere for the purpose of measurement and testing of the atmosphere. All right. So this is not carrying people or some other it is not a GSLV or any other specialized type of vehicle which is carrying passengers or all with it. It is basically targeted to carry the instrument for testing and measuring the atmospheric variables. The altitude that it covers is from 50 to 1500 kilometers. Okay? Chaliye. So this can be directly asked from you. Developer of this particular sounding rocket was Om Space Rocket and Exploration Private Limited, which is located in Ahmedabad. Next information is a very brief information. Not much can be asked from around it, so we'll be briefly discussing it. That is, Jose Antonio has recently been sworn as the president of Chile. New president of Chile can be asked in the examination. The name is Jose Antonio. There's a lot of static information, but everything is not important. For example, his ideology is a far right political ideology individual. That is not going to be asked in the examination. The capital of Chile, because it has been in news for a lot of things, this might be asked. So it is Santiago. Okay, you must be aware of this particular thing. Only two information: the capital and the person who has recently sworn that particular designation. Next is 7 districts have been added to the 6th phase of mandatory gold hallmarking. What is gold hallmarking? If you have ever bought or have seen a particular gold jewelry, you must have seen the hallmark, the ISI mark there. All right. So this has been phased out to 7 more districts in India. If you are not very much into jewelries, you might probably think that every other gold that is sold in India, gold jewelries that are sold in India, do have this particular hallmark, but that is not true. For a lot of small vendors whose annual turnover is less than 20-40 lakh rupees, government has still not mandated. Government is trying to expand and roll out this thing to more and more vendors, to more and more states and districts. Probably every place where gold is sold, we are planning to incorporate it, but that has not happened till yet. A lot of states and districts are not covered. Still, hallmarking is not done. Golds are sold without the hallmarks. Okay? Definitely at the bigger shop, the bigger networks, the big entities like the Kalyan Jewelers, like the PNG Jewelers, like the Krishna Jewelers, these are big chains. They definitely will have that. But the smaller vendors often will carry something which does not have. When a lot of customers start reaching their shop, that we only want the gold products, gold jewelries which has hallmark on it, then probably they might integrate it. But this has not been forced on those shopkeepers or small shopkeepers by the government. So government is rolling out this in a very phased manner. So out of that program, currently government has added or the BIS has added a new feat achievement by adding 7 more districts in the list where the mandatory gold hallmarking is being done. What are these districts? Roopnagar in Punjab, Banda which is in Uttar Pradesh, Bhid which is in Maharashtra, Gomati in Tripura, Katiyar in Bihar, Biawar in Rajasthan, and Nemuch in Madhya Pradesh. Now the total districts which are covered under this are around 380. Significantly still lower. We have to go a long way. What are the purity levels? The hallmark signify what is the purity level of the particular gold ornament jewelry that you are holding. It can be 14 carats, 18, 20, 22, 23 or 24. 24 carat is not mostly used for jewelry making. It is not very perfect. I hope you are aware what is the reason. Tell me in the comment section if you know. Now certain bodies and certain important terms which are associated with this particular news are BIS and HUID. Let us talk about them. Firstly, BIS is Bureau of Indian Standard. It is the nodal body which basically take care of all this standardization, hallmarking, etc. It comes under Ministry of Consumer Affairs and Public Distribution. The purpose is to ensure that quality and safety of all the products and services in India. You also need to know that BIS is quite a later addition. Before BIS, there was a nodal body which was called as ISI. So name was changed to BIS. Okay? ISI is still there on your jewelry, but now it is only a mark. Earlier it was a nodal body, just like BIS. Bureau of Indian Standard was like a ISI used to be a nodal body. Okay? So we have mentioned it. This particular BIS, which has now become a nodal body, has replaced ISI in the year 1947. Okay? In the year ISI was formed in the year 1947 and BSI replaced it through the BSI Act in 1987. Okay? Operationalization of BSI started in the year 1987. Second thing is HUID. It is basically a 6-digit alphanumeric, alphabet and numbers together, hallmark unique identification code which is present on your gold products, mostly the jewelries, for the purpose of verification. Haji, chaliye. Any doubts till this portion in this part? Moving ahead, let's talk about CSIR and NCL has recently identified dimethyl ether as sustainable alternative to liquefied petroleum gas. LPG is mostly used in your houses for cooking, for fueling the kitchen. LPG has been a traditional source. Now the CSIR, that is an important body working in India, alongside its laboratory which is called as NCL, National Chemical Laboratory, which is located in Pune, they have identified a new product or a new component which is called as DME, dimethyl ether. Now this can be, LPG can be substituted if testing is being all done and it has if it receives the approval of the nodal ministries that are involved, then it is going to replace the LPG. It is very ambitious project as of right now. Not much can be said that it is going to 100% replace it. A lot of testing has to be done, a lot of things has to be seen. But this particular NCL laboratory has proved that this can be a future alternative to our LPG. What is the significance of this particular component? The liquefaction is possible at a lower pressure if you compare it to LPG, which provides a more cleaner burning solution without releasing a lot of shoot. Okay, na? Like LPG. Shoot is the carbon remains. All right. So that will be seen as a negative side. If the higher shoot is higher, it is not a good sign. Okay. So if we compare DME side by side with LPG, on the basis of composition, it is oxygenated fuel, whereas LPG is a hydrocarbon. All right. Emission की अगर बात करें तो the shoot which we have discussed is very low. The low the better. In case of LPG, it is higher as compared to DME. Sulfur, hardly any sulfur. None, like 0% sulfur is produced when you are using DME as a fuel, according to the CSIR NCL. But when you are using LPG, it may contain traces. Rare, less, but it may contain this sulfur. Now what is the problem with this? This is going to combine with oxygen, ठीक है, सल्फ्यूरिक जो आपकी गैसेज है वो वहाँ पर बनेगी, सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड जो आपका है ये आपका बनेगा, ठीक है ना, विच इज गोइंग टू बी not good for environment also, and it is going to be bad for you also. It is going to trigger respiratory illness in and around if you are in an environment where the SO2 is very high. Storage is very similar to LPG, so it is not going to be a very big problem. It can be used inside the cylinder, same type of system. So we do not have to design a new infrastructure or new packaging or anything other than just replacing it. Okay? So this is also better. It is also cleaner as far as the burning is considered. चलिए, now what is the significance of this? This is not going to be asked in examination that what is the significance, but you should be aware. 90% of India's LPG is being imported, and the pathway for most of this import is Middle East. It is coming through that narrow strait which is called as Strait of Hormuz. And currently during the war between Israel, Iran and US, that Hormuz, Strait of Hormuz has been choked by Iran. So it is disrupting the supply chain and other operation. है ना? So if we start utilizing DME, which can be internally synthesized, our dependence on import will be a lot less. A lot less. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Yes, correct. Somebody has mentioned in the comment section. I think Rahul has mentioned. Also causes acid rain. Yes, so as I mentioned, it is bad for us also, and it is going to be bad for the environment also. Okay, bad for both of the entities here. Next news is regarding Kusunpur, which is in Odisha, had recently became Odisha's first smart village under the initiative of CSIR. CSIR was earlier also in discussion. It stands for Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. है ना, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. It was established in the year 1942. So under the CSIR initiative, this Kusunpur village has become Odisha's first smart village, and it is in alignment with the long-term prospectus of Viksit Bharat of 2047. Just like we are willing to increase the number of smart cities in India, है ना, making the urban hub more commercialized, more safe, more like less polluted, we are also trying to transform the villages as well. We want to modernize and we want to make the villages more efficient. 100% rural electrification, 100% internet access, proper infrastructure, connectivity, and a lot of other things are being envisioned for the same, along with greener and cleaner environment. Okay? So the village, which basically is designated as a smart village or being developed as part of the initiative, they will usually have climate resilient schools, so that if there is a rainfall or any type of climatic turbulence, you do not have to shift the students to some other building, or you do not have to ask them for next 5 to 6 days you do not have to come to school. Okay? So these buildings are climate solid, climate resilient. Also cyclone shelters and agri voltage are going to be equipped in these type of smart villages. Moving to the next topic, let me see how many more news elements do we have. Acha, we have a lot of them, and we have around 15 minutes, so we should be trying to be a little faster. All right. So government has recently come up with this Gaming Act of 2025 to prohibit money games. There are two elements involved. Government is not going to target any e-sport. ठीक है ना? E-sport games are not going to be targeted. If you are having any cricket game where you are playing cricket or FIFA, all these type of games, they are not going to be affected. Those games which involves an element of money exchange, gambling, etc., they are being targeted. So government has warned even the regulatory institution and the banking ecosystem that any transaction that is being done, you have to do mandatory registration, and you also have to do the verification of the credential of these particular partners, the companies which indulge in these type of money related or gambling like gaming environment. ठीक है ना? So if any flaw is being found, if it has been found that any type of transaction is being done, any money gambling game is being operated, and the bank is the facilitator, it has not properly verified the credentials, and despite knowing or checking the document that it is a gambling related company or a gaming related company, still you are facilitating their transaction between users and the company owners, then you are going to be liable for it. ठीक है ना? So the purpose, the limelight is on banks now. They are also part of this verification, and they have to ensure that this type of things are not being undertaken as far as their financial infrastructure is involved. Regulator here is OGAI, which is called as Online Gaming Authority of India, which was established last year in 2025, and it comes under the PROG Act of 2025, the Promotion and Regulation of Online Gaming Act of 2025. ठीक है ना? Under this PROG Act of 2025, this regulatory body that is called as the OGAI was introduced in the year 2025, and we are now going to try to prohibit and ban all the games which involve this particular money angle or gambling angle. Next is World Happiness Report of 2026. Again, this time Finland secured the first position, followed by Iceland on second position, Denmark third, Costa Rica fourth, and Sweden on fifth. So this is for the 9th year that Finland has secured the first rank in the World Happiness Report. India has slightly improved its position as compared to the previous year. Last year we were having 118th position. Currently we are having 116. Still, this is not a very good number. We are having a very big GDP. We are boosting that. We are manufacturing a lot of things. We are trying to do a lot of good things. But still, happiness index mein we are very far. Okay? In fact, countries like Pakistan, etc., in the list are more happier. The most unhappiest country in the world is Afghanistan. Okay? So our neighbors like Afghanistan and Bangladesh, they are even worse than us as far as this index is concerned. But other neighbors like Sri Lanka and Pakistan, they are slightly better than us as far as this index is concerned. What is the criteria? What has been evaluated in this type of index preparation? You focus upon GDP, you focus upon social support, you focus upon health infrastructure, life expectancy, you focus upon freedom and generosity. So owing to all these criteria, equal weightage is being provided, and based upon that the index ranks it. Okay? If it was only on GDP, then probably in every year China and US would have ruled the chart. One more static related information which you should be aware: 20th March is celebrated as the International Day of Happiness, which has been declared by United Nations. ठीक है? चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. GSI has recently designated Kalinger Fort as a National Geographic Heritage. GSI is basically Geological Survey of India. Kalinger Fort is located in Banda district of Uttar Pradesh, a North Indian state. All right. This tag has been provided owing to a unique feature which is called as Eparchian unconformity, where it is showing a 1.3 billion year gap between two geological formations. In order to understand that better, you should be aware of what we call as geological time scale. It is like the calendar of the earth, which has divided the entire history of earth into bigger units. So the largest unit is called as super eon. Super eon has a lot of eons, and these eons has a lot of eras. These eras in turns have a lot of periods, and these periods in turns have a lot of epochs. These epochs in terms have a lot of ages. So currently we are living in the Cenozoic era, Quaternary period, Holocene epoch, and the Meghalayan age. ठीक है ना? So there are these Archean and Proterozoic. These are two units of this particular geological time scale. Now this Kalinger Fort shows a very unique feature of showing a gap between these two subsequent time period. दो अलग अलग जो layers हैं, दो अलग अलग time frame का जो composition है, belonging to two different time periods, they are meeting at this particular point, which makes it quite special. And owing to that, GSI has declared it as the National Geo Heritage Site. If you talk about the historical aspect of it was a Chandela. It belonged to the Chandela dynasty. It was a Nilkant temple of the Chandela dynasty. ठीक है ना? चलिए. Now GSI is mentioned here. We have discussed GSI is Geological Survey of India. It was established in the year 1851. Next information is regarding India and Indonesia are going to partner for restoration of a temple which is called as Prambanan Temple Complex. This is located in Java. This temple is located in Java of Indonesia. So ASI from India, that is Archaeological Survey of India, is going to partner with Ministry of Culture of Indonesia in order to jointly contribute in the restoration project of this particular temple, which is important heritage and cultural site for both of the regions, Indonesia also and India also. They are going to use a specific method which is called as anastomosis. What is anastomosis? The reconstruction of the temple will be done by using the original stones. New stones, new cement, concrete, etc. is not going to be used. They are going to curate very selectively and precisely the old and the original stones, and the same will be used for the reconstruction of the temple instead of any new elements being added there. Okay? Chaliye. This particular temple was a 9th century temple, and it is a UNESCO Hindu temple complex. It is considered as a UNESCO's Hindu temple complex. Chaliye. Yes, Rahul, correct. The name which you have mentioned, although we are not supposed to take the name of gaming apps, but you have mentioned it correctly. Chaliye. Tamil Nadu emerges as India's top textile exporter, surpassing Gujarat and Maharashtra. For years, nearly a decade almost, Gujarat and Maharashtra have topped this particular list. They have been at the top first to rank as far as the textile exporters are concerned. Okay? But recently Tamil Nadu has occupied the first spot for FY 2024 and 25. Alright, the source for this is Niryat. What is Niryat? National Import-Export Record for Yearly Analysis of Trade. So according to this report of Niryat, Tamil Nadu has surpassed both Gujarat and Maharashtra to become the top state as far as the textile export is concerned. The market share of Tamil Nadu in this textile export is a massive, roughly 22%, nearly 22%, which is a big market share, because the textile industry in India is quite diversified and quite big, and there are multiple states, and out of that, if you are having this large chunk or massive share in the entire market, then you are a big player. If we compare it with Gujarat and Maharashtra, which are the other two states on second and third position, you can see Maharashtra is currently at $3.8 billion. The textile export by Maharashtra is valued at 3.8 billion. And if you compare it with Tamil Nadu has achieved almost nearly double of that particular number. Okay? There is a massive growth of almost 29% as far as this sector in Tamil Nadu is concerned in the past 4 years. ठीक है? चलिए आगे आ जाते हैं हम लोग. I think this is the last news that we are supposed to discuss, and questions we are going to discuss for the entire March session. Once we are done with March and April current affairs, I'll be trying to incorporate current affairs for the March session along with the news. Okay? We'll be taking a slightly longer class, 1 hour 15 minutes, so that we are able to discuss. Currently this YouTube session was 1 hour, and we have completed 55 minutes of it. So it is not possible us to incorporate the current affairs as well. But for the April session, we'll be incorporating that. For March, we'll be bringing a standalone session where we are only going to solve questions and MCQ based upon all these topics, March 1, March 2, March 3, March 4th week. Okay? To be ready for that. Now, NMDC has created a history with its highest ever 53 million tons production output. NMDC is basically a Navratna public sector company, public sector enterprises. The full form is National Mineral Development Corporation. National Mineral Development Corporation. So recently it was in news that it has achieved the highest ever, that is around 53 million tons of iron ore in the FY 25-26. Record production, record output. ठीक है ना, इतना पहले कभी नहीं था. It never saw this much record output in the preceding years. It has become the first Indian mining company to cross the threshold of 50 million ton mark. No other company has ever achieved this particular feat. So this can be a question directly. This is a very significant feat to achieve. It can be asked, which company has recently crossed 50 million ton threshold as far as the iron ore production is concerned? Answer is going to be NMDC. Okay. Now, key mines of NMDC are in Kirandul, Bacheli in Chhattisgarh and Doni Malai in the state of Karnataka. Operationalized first coal mine, this NMDC has operationalized its first coal mine in Jharkhand and इसका जो एक ऑफिस है आपको वहाँ पर दुबई में भी दिखाई देता है. Recently they have opened an office in Dubai as well. So this was the last news under discussion. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow at the same time, that is 5 p.m. to carry forward the news elements of the March 4th week. Then after a break of one day, we will come with the current affairs for the month of April. 4 consecutive days, April 1, April 2, April 3, April 4 week, current affairs will be consolidated. For the month of May, we still have a lot of time. First week May current affairs, we'll bring it on 8th of or 9th of May. ठीक है ना? So join this particular channel if you have not already joined and stay tuned with this. Also join the Telegram space for regular updates. Content is already available on the website. You can go and download the PPTs which are discussed here in this particular session. Goodbye, take care, have a nice day. If you like the session, do provide your feedback in the comment section. Also share the video so that it can reach to other students as well. Okay, goodbye.